Welcome to the Axel Springer Award Talk. The Axel Springer Award is given to Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft this year, and it's our great pleasure to have him here at our talk. My name is Christoph Keese, and I will be discussing with the distinguished round of entrepreneurs from all different industries about AI and technology and how it can further business. Satya, great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Christoph, for being here.
You have said that, I'm quoting, the age of AI is upon us. It has come seemingly very quickly, and you have invested very early in OpenAI. ChatGPT is rocking the world. Have you expected this to happen so fast and with so much power?
Well, we've been working on AI, for multiple decades, and sometimes, things happen in months what you expected to have happen at some point, and you work for it, as I said, for multiple years. I think that the thing to ground ourselves on is what exactly is this new AI and what is the real breakthrough? And I would posit that there are two major breakthroughs. One is, in some sense, the pursuit of computing all through the last 70 years has always been, can you have a more natural user interface? We finally have it with this natural language, but it goes beyond natural language, right? Which is, it's multimodal, it's multi-turn, and it's multi-domain. So I can switch from, I'll call it Greek mythology to physics, and it knows how to keep track. And so the idea that you can have a very natural conversation that is multi-turn, multimodal, multi-domain is a real breakthrough in user interface. And the other thing is we now have a new reasoning engine to exercise on top of all the digitized information, right? Because we had databases. That's how, in fact, SAP and Microsoft first came together when we built databases and information systems on databases. And now, of course, we have the ability to even use a neural reasoning engine on top of data. So this combination, I would say, Christoph, of a new user interface and a new reasoning engine is changing every software category. And that's what's different this time around.
So as mentioned, you have invested in OpenAI early with $1 billion, I believe, and then you added up another 10 billion, so you're 11 billion into the game. How is OpenAI and ChatGPT going to be integrated in Microsoft products? So how is it going to be integrated into the Office suite, into Azure, and all the other services you're offering?
Yeah, we're obviously very excited about our partnership with OpenAI. They're building the frontier models. In fact, I would say when we started seeing the progress they were making, they made between GPT 2.5 to 3 is when we really got conviction that there's something very different afoot here. We then subsequently, the first product that we built with OpenAI was GitHub Copilot. If you look at,
it's a programming support tool.
That's correct. It's an AI pair programmer for every programmer. And now pretty much all software development, every software developer everywhere uses the GitHub Copilot. And it's, the empirical data, it brings back the joy of software programming. It brings back the flow, right? You can stay in your IDE and get your job done and enjoy it. And so we are taking essentially that same approach, which is we are taking these large language models or foundation models and building them into all of our products. And so the design concept which we like is Copilot, because the human is always in the loop. Human agency, judgment still matters. These powerful tools will work in conjunction with what humans do in how they get their work done. And you always can start with a first draft, whether it's your code you're writing, a document you're writing, a presentation you're creating, or a spreadsheet. You'll always start with the first draft. So we're incorporating it across the length and breadth of the Microsoft product portfolio with this concept of Copilot.
OpenAI, GitHub, you just mentioned, you have a history of pretty successful and way-leading acquisitions. How does the process work within Microsoft? Is it just the few stars we're seeing, and there are many others which are not as important and not as successful, or do you have a special secret sauce that helps you deliver such?
First of all, I must mention, obviously everybody talks about the acquisitions, but the biggest investment we make is the organic investment. When I look at even our R&D budget, the fundamental, like any company here, I think all of us do both organic and inorganic, and quite frankly, we were very careful, I think, to your point about when we do inorganic investments, of whether it makes sense. Sometimes the investment, I mean, to me, there are a couple of criteria. The first thing is this something that Microsoft can add real value to, right? I mean, you know, when, if you take LinkedIn or GitHub or Activision or Mojang or what have you, they all have to make sense that Microsoft has some unique contribution that we can make, both because of our technology, our brand, our go-to-market, to the asset. Otherwise, why do it? And then, of course, at the end of the day, it has to make financial sense as well. And so those are the two criteria we've used. We've also been very, very good at understanding how to do integrations, because sometimes when you buy companies, you're buying to learn from the company, not just incorporate it into your company. And so to be able to change your own culture, right? In GitHub, quite frankly, Microsoft had to change a lot in order to be in a place where the home for open source can be part of Microsoft. So therefore, I think it requires sometimes for us to condition ourselves to be someone who can be a successful acquirer.
Yes, by the way, Activision Blizzard was just approved and closed, so you overcame the cartel hurdles, and it's now part of your company. It's closed, right?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Hildegard Wortmann is on the board of Audi, the famous German car company, and you're quoted as saying that there are a number of changes in the automotive industry, but one of the most important one is autonomous driving. Can you help us understand how you're integrating technology and, of course, artificial intelligence to make an Audi drive by itself?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the automotive industry in general is undergoing the biggest transformation ever, I would say. And that's not just a change from combustion engines to battery electric cars, but that's especially the role of software and how software is defining the vehicle and the interfaces between the user and the environment. So we have so many opportunities now to integrate the car into the whole digital ecosystem of our customers. And then with autonomous driving, which I would see as the real big game changer in the industry, then we obviously have a very different opportunity to then really go for customer excitement in completely new ways. So really tapping into new profit pools, tapping into new business opportunities there. And AI, I mean, it's already used in the Volkswagen Group in many aspects. I mean, if you can imagine, like in the production for quality control in welding spots, for example. So there's many applications we are doing already which are absolutely normal and day-to-day routine. But I think the excitement comes once you put the customer into the perspective as well. So once you're no longer working in your own company with AI, but if you use AI to really please the customer, to really broaden up on the customer digital experience, and then ideally really have a much better customer experience than ever before. And then with autonomous driving, you obviously free up a lot of time that a customer can spend in your car, which means that the interior of the car becomes a completely different story. Yeah? We love to talk about the living room as the interior of the car now, because you suddenly have time. You spend so much time in the car when commuting or when on a longer distance journey. We just talked about your holiday trips, Christian. So it's, you know, it's the use of time becomes very, very different. And with that, many opportunities to then foresee what customers would like to have, what opportunities they would go for. And there AI has a great role for us. So
we all know that computing artificial intelligence is quite a feat. It takes a lot of chip power to do all this computing. Now cars are already pretty expensive, at least premium cars, of course. Where should all the computing be done? Would it be done in chipsets within the car, or will it be in the cloud, or will it be satellites? How is this going to be solved in the
Very
future?
easy answer, all of that.
All of it?
It can't be just in one place. I mean, it's impossible with the amount of data, as you rightly say, to have it just in one location or in one spot. So it's the clever use of the different resources that we have, from cloud to chips, etc. But more important, I think, where you store it, it's more important to really understand how to use it and how to make the best out of the data. I mean, we all know the data is worth nothing unless you really work with it, and unless you apply human intelligence then to it in the way of defining concepts, ideas on how to apply it.
What is your strategy vis-a-vis the operating system? Because the interface to the customer, the people driving the car, your customers, will be very, very valuable in the future, because people will be doing other stuff. Everybody wants to be in there. You have corporations with different industry players. So who will own the operating system in the future?
Well, first of all, our customers are already very valuable to us today. Yeah. So even without autonomous driving, I have to point that out. Yeah. So even now, but yes, as I said, the time that a customer can spend in the car when the car is really driving in an autonomous or driving assistance mode, it doesn't have to be completely autonomous, is a different use of time. And as I said, there is interesting profit pools that we can tap into that, but we will definitely stay in the master, in the control of that space. We would be crazy to give it away. Yeah.
Thank you, Hildegard. And we're now moving on to Martin Daud and to the financial industry. Querion Bank is a bank that has been started as a startup bank on the premises that artificial intelligence and robo-advising, as they call it, will change the financial industry. The idea would be that computers can pick assets much better than any human analyst can do. You have grown quite significantly. What is your take on artificial intelligence and its impact on the financial industry?
Thank you very much for this question, and thanks to be in this round to discuss these topics. AI for us is a big game changer for the future. Today, we are not using, and no one is using AI in this asset management allocations and the forecasting of future stock markets, because to be honest, it cannot be forecasted. But AI is a really driver in the business for user interfaces, for customer experience, and for our philosophy to let a lot of people take part in wealth development. And therefore, we invest in natural language models which take care for example, blind people who can easily then open accounts with us when the natural language model is working, or young people who they like more to speak than to go to phones and so on. And so for this is AI really important for us, and we have some projects running on this. Also in analytics, also in other processes to be more efficient, and in digital marketing.
In the financial industry, there has been a long-standing dispute between managed and automated
yes.
ways of spending wealth or investing wealth. So it's either the human management making decisions, or it is a passive exchange-traded fund, ETF, that kind of follows indexes. Do you think that robo-advising and AI will change this, and something in the middle, or something a very different beast could come about?
Good question, Christoph. I think it's the both, because one part for technology is really the ETFs themselves, to select the companies they invest in, to select the indices, to manage these kind of prices and adjustments. On the other side, at the robo-advisory, we are people who taking then the result of these ETFs and put it in our investment portfolios. And these are still people. And there are some smaller companies in the market worldwide who try to figure it out how they can forecast with AI. And again, it does not work. So still we need the combination of both. For example, best selected products, and on the other side, people who really know what to do, and then we stick to our portfolios. And what we do with, I would say, rules-based machines today is the onboarding process for clients, because it's a regulatory process. We are a wealth manager, not a brokerage company, so we have to take care for all the data for the client and the trust. And so here are rule-based engines for answering and questions and risk profiling at the end, then to provide the real ETF portfolio. This is a kind of AI we do today.
Martin, you are quoted as saying, I'm quoting, "I have deeply internalized the American just do it mentality," end of quote. So what makes this mentality different from the typical European mentality, and how do you practice it in real life AI implementation?
I think AI, and we are running some AI projects, and we have to learn, and I have also to learn, again, AI projects are different than normal IT projects, because in normal IT projects you can have due to experience, you run projects, you have milestones, you know what to do, what to invest a little bit, and when you're fighting about the budget, and when it's a delay, and so on, and you can manage this. AI is from day to day a new experience. So when we work on AI projects, we really don't know what is the result next week. And so from a management point of view, we have to be very open in managing this with projects, and we cannot always run and calculate and say where is the return and so on. We have to be agile and open. And the US principle, I think, behind this is just do it, not always to think about the end, which could be done with an AI. Think for the next week, and let's do the best work together to reach the target.
Thank you, Martin. Mario Federico, next in our round. You are president and managing director of McDonald's in Germany. You have roughly 4 billion in sales in Germany, and I was astounded to hear that 2/3 of the orders placed in your restaurants are already placed with machines. So it's either the big screens that you have in the restaurant itself, or apps where people pre-order and then come to pick it up. What will the future look like? Will it be machines catering to the table, or will it be machines listening to what I say in the restaurant or in the drive-thru?
So great to be here, Christoph, and very happy to represent the market perspective of McDonald's. We underwent a wave of modernizing the restaurants a couple of years back, and that's where all these things came into play. We didn't know, but we knew we had to modernize. So the kiosk came into play, the app came into play. Of course, when the kiosk came into play, our service model for the customer, it changed quite a lot. Basically, we were able to move the people which were taking the order from the order tables to table service. So we were looking for a much closer connection in service with the customers. At the same time, with kiosk, give the opportunity to the customer to have a seamless experience. So order your way, how you want, without any stress. And then we could also place some of these people at the drive or delivery and the kitchen as well. So the investment we did then with the app and the kiosk are really great. Innovation has gone very fast.
The kiosk is a big screen.
Exactly.
In the entrance of the
so you have all the products in there. Alone the app today, we start with loyalty program not even 2 years ago. We have basically, on the app, we do 28% of our business.
28%
of the business. And with the kiosk together, 65%. So we are digitalizing the brand. These were the first steps some years back. The plan is really to go back and modernize the brand even more. Tech is going to play a major role. Optimizing operations is going to play a major role. Sustainability and energy as well. But when it comes back to tech, I think we're looking with this next wave in the next 5 years really to modernize the entire platforms in Germany. That means Internet of Things, everything needs to be connected. The app, the kiosk, the kitchen, devices, air conditioning. So we are laying the foundation with Internet of Things, with algorithm, and basically we're coming to AI. We don't do much with AI right now, but I foresee quite a lot of stuff coming up soon, helping the customers and helping the crew to do an easier job, like, for example, shift management on AI base. Because once Internet of Things connects everything, I will have a much easier job when I'm running the shift at McDonald's.
When I asked you, when we met before, if you would substitute the human person delivering to the table, you said, no, I will never do that. And you told me this story of a little girl dropping a Coke on the floor, and one of your employees in the restaurant, you happened to be present, came running and brought a new Coke to the girl, and you said, a machine will never be able to do that. It's a magic moment for the little girl. She probably will be a very loyal customer. Do you think machines will never be able to show so much sympathy?
So I think machine will, I see this as the front of the house and the back of the house. We serve 1.7 million customers per day in Germany only. And I think we are a people company. That's why I said no, no. A people company, we create this relationship with the customers as well. So we have 65,000 employees. I think we're looking for supporting the employees, how they can do a better job. So this little girl a couple of weeks ago, it's a sign. But it's not only the little girl which gets the Coke on the floor and then an employee can really make the difference. But I see also security topic. We need employee in the restaurant, real employee, real-time employee to take care of the customers as well. So today my answer is no. I don't want to replace people. People will continue to play a major role And if I think, for example, we want to open another 500 restaurants in Germany, this means 25,000 jobs. We are a mirror of the diversification of the society. And I'm really proud about it. We have 120 nationalities working at McDonald's Germany.
And you just mentioned the number. It will be many hundred restaurants you're opening in the next 10 years, right?
Absolutely.
This leads to you, Thorsten Albig. You are from Philip Morris International.
Yep.
And let me quote a headline in Bild a couple of weeks ago. It read, Marlboro wants to abolish cigarettes. Sounds like, Marlboro is one of your brands, the most important brands. Sounds like a company committing harakiri. What's behind it? Why do you want to abolish cigarettes?
It's not about AI, it's about HI, human intelligence. I think if you talk about cigarettes, it's the most archaic product you can imagine. For I think the last 13,000 years on this planet, people use tobacco for the nicotine. They smoke, they chum. They use it. In the last 170 years, you find Philip Morris in the market, starting 1847 with Mr. Philip Morris in London. And the only thing we did in all the years, we sold cigarettes. It's not very innovative. It's tobacco with paper and some filters. It's opposite to AI or innovation. But the problem is, if you burn a cigarette, you cause damages for your customers because the burning, the combustion is very dangerous. There's carcinogenic substances there, and they cause cancer. And we think about that in the last 15 years. Is this the Philip Morris we want to be? Is this a company we want to be? Is it the last answer we give in the consumption of nicotine? Or can we do it in a different way? And we take 11 billion euros in invest in R&D, and we find a new way for the consumption of nicotine without most of the dangerous substances.
Which is heating, not burning.
Heating, not burning, is the answer. Minus 96% of dangerous substances. So you can give an answer to the people, which is different to governmental education. It's an offer for adult smokers and people. And the answer after 170 years for the company is, and it's a quote for which a director of the company 30 years ago would be fired without a notice, and in the next second, if you don't smoke, please never smoke. If you don't smoke, never start. If you smoke, please quit. But if you don't want to quit, we have an offer for you for a better solution. And that's our innovation. That's after the 11 billion euros of invest. We created a device, and you can use the device.
IQOS?
IQOS, it's our device. You feel other devices on the market, vapes. You see it in Sweden with snus, with pouches you use. And the Sweden case is very interesting, because if you look at the Swedish society, 10 years ago, we had 80% of smokers in the Swedish society. Today, we have under 6. Under 6 is the rate for WHO to say it's a smoke-free society. Not because the innovation of government, not because of regulation, because of an offer of the industry by Philip Morris. We own the company Swedish Match. And that's what we think about, and where we try to talk to society. We need not only innovative companies, but we need innovative societies to learn, to think, what is tobacco industry? All of you have the picture of the guys, the CEOs from '94. We swear nicotine is wonderful, and it's like chewing gum and not addictive. Nonsense. We learned it, and the Philip Morris today is completely different. But it's so difficult to explain that it's possible that there's a transformation not only in technique, but in the mindset of the people. And it's so amazing to see how this company tries to become a new Philip Morris, a new story. All the people, we have 1,500 scientists working for us by Philip Morris International. And we are giving answers that I think are better than restriction by government. If you say to the people, you're not allowed to smoke, what will be the answer of people? They find different ways, other ways, they find illegal markets. And we can give them an answer, and that you can use nicotine, it's your choice. But if you use it, and if you use our new product or from the competitors, you can do it without harm, without substance that causes cancer. And we learned it's not the nicotine, it's the combustion of tobacco.
And,
So
and
that's not AI, but that's HI, and I think
yes, and it's also technology, because you have over 1,000 scientists
Yes,
working on new innovative solutions. So this
transformation,
company is kind of reinventing itself.
reinventing, yeah.
Michael Rauterkus is president and CEO of Uponor Corporation, 4,000 employees, 1.4 billion in sales, and you're a specialist in water systems. Water systems delivering water throughout cities, but also throughout buildings. And AI in your company is used, for example, for monitoring and early warning, because everybody trusts you open the tap, it's drinking water. But is it really drinking water? This is what you use AI for. So how is implementation going?
No, the construction industry is a very interesting industry to really drive innovation, AI. I'll give you an example. I mean, we really try to develop and help our customers to develop not only smart cities, but also smart buildings. And I think there are two big sectors. One is, it is at the moment highly unproductive how the buildings are being made. It takes a long time, costs a lot of money, it's completely unorganized. So AI will help to really accelerate the process, how a building is being built and designed. And the other part is really how a building is being operated. And Uponor has developed a system that with the, let's say, with the same building and same setup, with the technology, you can easily reduce the energy consumption by using the intelligence 20, 30, 40%.
During the building process or while being operated?
While operating.
20 to 30%.
Exactly.
How does that work?
How does this work? Because at the moment, really, when you see how this building is being operated, it is not really, a lot of intelligence behind. But when you think about any predictive measures, weather forecast, or the occupancy on weekends, etc., usually a building is operated 24/7 and consumes the same energy. And we can do this and do this much better. We have currently projects going on where we convinced, it was a big residential project in Frankfurt, and the investor didn't want to invest in a new system. And they said, okay, we invest into the system, but we get back 50% of the savings. And I will make a lot of money out of this. So it is absolutely possible that we can really change an industry and help our customers to reduce CO2 emissions. I mean, construction industry produce 40% of the world's emissions. And this is really inspiring the Uponorians, a Finnish company, which always has been at the forefront of digitalization, diversity, but they love water, they love the nature, and this is why we have something inside. I always call this Uponor inside. It's a little bit hidden, but nobody would know that in every third new US building, there's Uponor inside, and in your headquarters, Satya, I looked it up. It's been operated also by Uponor, but probably you have never heard of it. But that's amazing, and one part of my passion is really to get this company really more to the surface. And I always call our industry the best kept secret industry, because they're fantastic innovation, but nobody knows. And this is why I think we have such a big chance to really make a contribution. And this is why it's a lot of fun.
A couple of years ago, The Economist rated industry by their advancement in digitization, and last place was taken by construction. Would that still be fair to say?
That's fair.
That's fair?
And I think the good thing is really, and this is why the way how I run the company is really, I bring people probably from industries which are probably 10, 15 years ahead of us into into our company. So the company, let's say the operation is run by people who come from the automotive industry. So, and that's, I think, the magic. So it's a lot, I mean, there's a lot possible. Probably the only thing which will still be the same a bit, let's say the people, there might be a bit of a renaissance of craftsmanship too.
Yes.
Because the implementation will still require high quality labor. And I think the appreciation also for fantastic manual work will also be really increasing. That's what I think.
Great, thank you. Christian Klein is CEO of SAP and the most important tech CEO and entrepreneur, so to say, in Germany, if not Europe. SAP, I think, was founded in 1972 and is still the largest tech or software company in Germany. What role does AI play for you now?
I mean, first of all, I mean, kudos. I mean, what a fantastic business model. I learned a lot. I actually didn't know it, so really kudos. And I hope a lot of more people now know what you are doing. On AI, I actually, you know, what Satya described for Microsoft is actually very true for SAP in the B2B world. And when you think about that, here, most of you are all SAP customers, and we have 400,000 customers. We have 300 million users, you know, typing in transaction into an SAP system and doing billions of transactions every hour. And now think about it. Now you can talk via your human language and can ask our co-pilot with the beautiful name Jewel to say, hey, Jewel, do please the payroll run for me. Or I don't screen my 1,000 suppliers in the system. Give me the best suppliers, you know, based on cost, on quality. And then the second part of it is actually, we of course also aspire to actually solve also some broader challenges we have as a society. I mean, with almost every customer, we are co-innovating in a so-called green ledger. So we are collecting, you know, carbon data, for example, on a material level. 80% of the materials are somehow touched by an SAP system. So let's about, you know, have this transparency, have this data. And now in a neural network, what we are doing is we are combining this ESG data with financial data, with supplier data. So think about a world where you can ask our co-pilot Joule, hey, help me please to decarbonize my supply chain, but also help me to keep my profit intact, because otherwise I'm going out of business. And this co-pilot gives you a very smart answer how to decarbonize while also to run a profitable business. You need very smart people to analyze that. Today, you actually don't even have the data. In the future, with generative AI, we can bring this data together. We can correlate that data. We can also mix it with unstructured data. We can combine it with human language. And this is, of course, not only from a productivity perspective, a game changer, but it's also a game changer on how you run and how you steer a business.
Thank you. Give us an idea, Christian. So much has happened over the past, 9 months, 10 months of this year. Everybody was blown away what is possible.
Yes.
Is this speed going to continue in AI, or is it going to slow down?
I don't believe that it will slow down, especially in the B2B world. I would say we are right at the beginning. Because, of course, you can buy a piece of technology, but there's also some groundwork necessary. So we are still living in a world where many companies are facing data silos. There are many companies actually who also have to work on improving the data quality. And this is where we're also working together with Microsoft to build a stable foundation in the cloud, because AI needs data, high quality data, cleansing of data. And so honestly, when I see many of our customers, they are right at the beginning of infusing AI into their business. And this is a job what we have to do together, where SAP is, of course, a key player together with our partners. And so, no, I mean, there was many more things to come. I mean, we have use cases when we think about our generation here in Germany. We are not only talking about the deindustrialization, but also our society is getting older and older. So how can we solve that challenge? How can we solve the skill gap? Where to hire the best people from, not only within Germany, but maybe within Europe. We have places in Europe where we have a lot of young unemployed people. How to help them with AI to find the right job and actually solve a problem here in Germany for our economy, where we have huge skill gaps in certain industries for certain profiles. So no, there are a lot of ideas which are now coming into play, which are now possible to solve with generative AI. And that's pretty exciting. So no, it will not for sure not slow down.
Let me open the round and ask the two tech CEOs. You're all tech CEOs, of course, but the two software CEOs. Yes, I know that. I know. I'm sorry for that. The two software CEOs. Your technology is advancing very fast, and you need to educate your customers, your B2B customers, to implement this. Is there a danger of technology running ahead too far of the army or the rest of the world, and it becomes ever more difficult to show use cases and implement use cases? And after these CEOs have answered, I will ask you, what would you people like for them to solve? So what is software that you're looking for? What's your biggest problem you want software to be helping you? But first, these two gentlemen, please.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. I mean, as Christian mentioned, I mean, just listening to sort of what everyone talked about in terms of their use of technology and the business challenge and the business outcome that you're optimizing for, right? Whether it is the throughput in a restaurant, in a production line, in an auto company, and the list goes on. I feel that if anything, we in our industry have come to a point where the diffusion rate of this technology is the real change, right? It's not just the innovation, but the rate at which sort of technology that's being built by SAP or Microsoft is getting deployed. In fact, I would claim that this generation of AI wouldn't have been possible if it was not for cloud. Because cloud computing infrastructure is what allowed us to even bring about the compute infrastructure that allowed us to create this AI. And by the way, the adoption, and in fact, Christian talked about how data is important to use AI. The fact that everyone in this room is using cloud in some shape, is putting their SAP instances and their other data in the cloud, is actually helping them take these co-pilots and deploy them immediately. So I feel that if anything, we're going to see real economic productivity growth in the world, because you will see the benefits of technology translate into business outcomes faster because of all the work that has gone into of laying down the tracks, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Christian?
I mean, I can actually still very well remember that I called Satya in my first days as the CEO, and I said, Satya, I have a challenge. My customers are in the on-premise world, while a lot of innovation is happening in the cloud world, and there is a gap between what our 50,000 developers are coding and what my customers are consuming.
That's a problem you know, right?
Yeah,
From Microsoft.
so there was a good reason to call Satya. And I said, hey, you as our biggest cloud partner, I want to launch a new offering. I want to move this company to the cloud. And I want to harmonize data models. I want to infuse AI. I want to have all of our customers on the latest release. In the B2B space, this is not an easy one because we are running very mission-critical businesses. And so, yes, indeed, I guess there is, especially in the B2B world, it's very important that while you're innovating technology-wise in the cloud, that you take care of your customers and you give the customers a path to go with you along these innovation cycles. And this has a lot to do not only with developing great technology, this has to do with commercials, great services, great tools, people who understand, who can actually pave the way on how to build this great architecture to consume all of that. So it's an end-to-end transformation. You need your partners on your side. And it's indeed a very important topic.
I mean, going from on-premise to cloud was a huge change for Microsoft as well. How do you remember it?
I mean, there are two changes, right? I mean, for both sort of Microsoft and SAP, we had to go through. One is you were very successful in the previous paradigm. So the first thing is you now have to adopt to a complete new paradigm as technologically, which, by the way, is the easier job. Then the tougher one is the business model shift, right? Which is you have to change how you fundamentally price, go to market, what your customers expect of you and what have you. And that's the more gut-wrenching change. And in tech, there's no such thing as franchise value. You're only good if you can make both those transitions each time. And so, yes, I mean, in both our cases, these are hard transitions, but necessary transitions that we had to make as organizations. But the interesting thing, though, is it's an increasing returns transition. What I mean by that is, if you look at the customers we now have, right, they're able to use more. I mean, if I look at it, we were a very successful server company, but many parts of the world were not ready to adopt servers. The IT sophistication that was required was not there. Whereas now with the cloud, we can pretty much, service any part of the world. Even in a successful business, the unit of consumption of, each time you had to buy servers and storage and bring your own data centers, there was a lot of capital investment that was stuck, right? When you're in the restaurant business or you're a bank or you're in the automotive business, why do you want to be in the IT business? Whereas now you don't need to be. You can be, in fact, doing a lot more software development and consuming a lot more cloud. And so I think that, quite frankly, even though it was not self-evident in the beginning, the consumption of our services has increased by many-fold.
And it has created a technical lock-in. Once they are on Microsoft Azure, it's not really easy to leave, right? So you win customers for lifetime?
I wouldn't say so, because
is it easy to leave?
I actually think that there's very, very healthy competition, quite frankly, when it comes to the hyperscalers and lots of, every layer of the tech stack. If anything, you have to be competitive in every layer of the tech stack, right? Whether it's at the infrastructure layer or the data layer or the application layer. And, tight coupling between those layers is not going to work if they're not adding real value. So that means integration has value, but it has to translate into something. Whereas, because otherwise customers can also as easily move and use different parts, if you will.
So what would industry and services wish for?
What I see when I look at our market, I would like to come back to the point of what the tech and software can do for the real life in the restaurants. Because innovation is going to speed up, change is going to be speeding up, and we could see what happened in 2 years with the loyalty system we have. Now, because that's going to be the new normal, how you make sure that you have an easier user face with the mobile order and pay, with the kiosks? How can the tech help the people in the restaurants at the drive-thru? We do over 30% of drive-thru in Germany. That's the business we do. How can we create voice recognition systems? This is support for the employees in there. It's not easy because you don't have all in German. You have multiple languages. So how we can make people, employees' life easier, because that speed is going to be there. How you train them in a quicker way. How we change the way we take them on board, because we are employee-heavy company, as we have an important relationship with employees. So that's my ask, actually, to the tech companies.
No, I think that's something that I must say, when I said one of the biggest breakthroughs of this AI is that more natural user interface. Because if you look at it, right, the challenge of, let's take mobile order pay or kiosks, the fundamental challenge was that they were not multimodal. So that is text and speech and image and what have you now were difficult to program and build an interface that was multimodal. It definitely was always hard to be multi-turn, right? I mean, I want to place an order, I want to change the order, I want to go back and have a conversation as opposed to think of it like transaction at a time. But now you can have a multi-turn conversation. And then the most important thing is, in the middle of having, placing an order, I may want to talk about the weather, or I may want to talk about some other topic, which is off topic, and you need to still keep context. So that multi-turn, multi-domain, multi-model conversations are now possible. And so I think we are at the cusp of really changing, whether it's in mobile banking or whether it is even inside of a car, right? I mean, think about it, right? You asked about even what's the operating system of the car. The point, what is the user interface of the car? It's possible now for a car manufacturer to have essentially one of these bots that is going to navigate to, the car manual or the apps, and in fact bring back control to the automaker versus the operating system being the one that's in control of it. So I think that this natural user interface that AI enables could probably be the biggest change in how you all can use technology to differentiate your service.
We have a couple more points here. Martin and Thorsten and Michael also, please.
Yes, just let's mention one topic which is combined with AI, data security. The funny thing in the financial industry is that I think the regulators are not on the level of the technology today. So we are using cloud computing, we are using or trying to make AI projects, but the more AI you do, the more client data you generate, the more data you have, the more data security is important. So when Christoph asked what would be a request to the tech CEOs, I would say yes, take care that we have a better data security protection, that we really can work in the cloud with the client data. Today it's really partly ridiculous. We have to do it on our premises, but 2 years ago we externalized everything to the cloud. Now we come back with AI applications in our testing development and so on. I think this is a clearly approach for the future to change this. And the last word, I think for the value chain, because you said what Microsoft should develop. I think you should not develop applications, you should develop tools, the best tools. You lead the technology in tools, we lead our company in using technology and building applications for our clients. And so I think this value chain should be respected, and then we have really advantages and differentiation to our competitors.
Shall we select a couple of statements and then you answer? Please, go ahead, Thorsten.
Yeah. In my former life, I was a politician in Germany, and not only a company view, but a politician view. And I face in Europe something like an anti-innovative mood by politicians from the extreme sides of politics. And at the end, it's about the story of your waitress at the restaurant. The people in Europe, especially in Germany, are a little bit anxious about the speed of change. And we have to explain, but we too, we have to explain what's in for you. It's not because we can do it, we do it. We have to explain, and we want a world with people and not without you guys. And I think it's so important that we got this challenge and accept this challenge for us. But it's not only AI. If we want to be successful, we have to do it with the people on this continent. Otherwise, we will see that we have political powers from the wrong side who will damage the total process. So it's not only with the politicians, it's for the companies too, a challenge we have to work with.
Good point. Let's have Hildegard and Michael, and then I would invite you.
Just relating to that, I think it's two things important. One is that you need to have a clear framework and definition on how you want to operate in the system. But the other thing that I referred to you when you say we use the applications, it's a question of trust. And it's the trust of the consumers into the systems. I mean, imagine you drive a car autonomously. You need to have a lot of trust in that car that, you can drive autonomous and that you sit there, do a little nap and read your newspapers. But it's also the trust in the collaboration. Yeah? So I think it's not about running a project, if I may say so, but it's more of a really mutual collaboration and development, a co-development really in the sense of full integration there. And that also requires trust between the companies. So otherwise, I don't think this is working anymore. And you say it's the era of AI, but I think it's also the era of cooperation and co-development, which honestly the automotive industry in the past has never been that good in, because we were always very proud in doing our own systems and stuff. If we now look into the areas of technology like architecture, software, platform, battery systems, you need to cooperate, and you need to cooperate with a different trust level with partners. And I think that's very, very typical for what you say. Without trust and without a precise framework in which you can argue, this will not take off, and that's a real foundation we need.
Very good point. Thank you.
Last question. I would really like to ask you, what do you think about the future of smart home? There was, 10, 15 years ago, every big US tech company was thinking of devices, if it was Google Nest or Alexa, many other things, but it was all a bit just B2C very often, and sometimes a bit gimmicky. But I think when I just explained, construction industry produces 40% of world's CO2 emission, there's so much potential. And my question to you would be, are you thinking something sector specific? And also it's a little bit the invitation to really think about what we can do together in the future to really drive innovation.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Satya, and then I would bring in Christian, especially on the question of if we Europeans and Germans are a little bit behind in technology.
So maybe I'll just hit it, because there was a bit of a topic on regulation. There was a topic on Europe, and is anything different about Europe? There's what's the trust in the new model of cooperation, and obviously what's happening. It's a fact. Take on regulation. One of the things that I feel, again, we've done a lot of the hard work when it comes to cloud and cloud regulation, right? To even take adoption of the cloud in Europe. I think, let's face it, Europe has led on many of the regulatory side, and therefore has pushed us even to do things like the EU data boundary and sovereign clouds and many, many things that we have done in order to make it easy, quite frankly, for even the most regulated industry to adopt a cloud. I would also make the following point. Whenever I go to my dentist in Redmond, Washington, what I see is German Mittelstand, right? It's like all equipment is all German. Or you go to a jewelry shop in the United States, it's all German equipment. And I always think about it like, I wonder where the data of all those machines is. I'm sure it's coming back to Germany. Because after all, it's a German connected machine going forward. So I think even from a regulatory perspective, Europeans should think about their cars, their banks, their industrial equipment being everywhere in the world. And they need not only to regulate what's happening in the EU side, but also be competitive globally. So I think that there's a little bit there. But to your point, the data security, some of the promises around AI, for example, that your data is your data, that your data will not be used to train large language models. Your models and data will be protected. Those are guarantees, for example, that we are making. And to your point, 100%, which is we are a platform and you're building your applications on top of it, whether it's the smart home application, whether it's the banking application or what have you. And I think that's a good point. The thing that I'll just say, in terms of this cooperation models, it's such a well said, because at the end of the day, there needs to be trust, not just in technology, but trust in business models, right? Yeah, and I think exactly. Ultimately, we are only successful when you're successful. That's the ultimate test of a business model alignment. Otherwise, sometimes it gets confusing where you have multi-sided businesses, where I'm competing with you on one side, I'm cooperating with you on the other side, I'm subsidizing. That's kind of a troublesome partnership and cannot be trusted long term. It becomes transactional. But when you have a full alignment on business models, where I can only be successful when you're successful, and I think some of the cloud business models are inherently like that, and AI inherits that. So I feel much better that we will be in that situation. And very briefly on the smart home, I think you're bringing up what I think is perhaps the next big thing. Yeah, there will always be some kind of an agent or a user interface. But how can we introduce, through sensors, we get more data of the real world, we can simulate the real world, can we then do in silico some of what is the design aspects around sustainability that can fundamentally change the carbon footprint of what we build? I think that's perhaps the biggest driver of productivity in the construction industry. And for sure, we would want to lean in. And again, we'll do it. Obviously, SAP will have industry extensions in construction. So will be a lot of other folks who are very focused in that particular industry. And we'll want to bring them all together so that we can then address this task.
Christian.
And with regard to regulations in Germany or the European Union, I guess we need another hour. But of course, in all fairness,
that's a different discussion.
In all fairness, to be very frank, obviously we are investing not a small amount of money in sovereign clouds, and we are building now something in Germany called the Delos Cloud, where I would say it really serves the highest data privacy standards I have seen all over the world, and we won a few sovereign clouds in the United States and somewhere else. So that's better. But what is very frustrating is that we have to do this in the European Union, in Germany. Different standards in France, different standards in Italy. Next time it's Spain. And this is actually not good for our economy. This is, of course, not good for the tech players, but it's also not good for the customers, because you also want to have an affordable sovereign cloud. We want to set certain standards, and I guess this is where the European Union actually needs to become more union. Well, my sister is a teacher in the state of Baden-Württemberg, so she is now not allowed anymore, because one data protection officer decides to not allow anymore to use Microsoft Teams. And then she has to use a legacy software, and then Hessen
that's probably because everybody needs to come back into the school.
North Rhine-Westphalen does something else. And I really would say the federalismus has its benefits in some ways, but definitely not when it comes to digitization, because the cloud and the use of AI becomes even more powerful for our economy, honestly also for the public sector. The more we are more a union. And of course we have to serve the data privacy standards. Of course we have to make sure that the data resides here. What kind of people are touching the data? That's all being taken care of. But we need to come more together, because especially for the startups, it's damn hard to develop a business in such a fragmented environment. Right. And then last piece, the trust. I want to use the example of McDonald's, or also one of the biggest retailers of Volkswagen and Audi. McDonald's, we are just rolling out our new human experience management solution. There was a discussion, cloud on-prem, when we could show that we can now collect real-time the employee feedback, and the employees are super important for McDonald's, and can help with this data to improve the learning, the reskilling, and to improve the consumer service. The acceptance goes up because you can do that in the cloud. Or if I can show the biggest retailer of Volkswagen Audi in MENA that together with Microsoft, we can actually much better manage demand and supply and can sell more cars in the cloud, because we can use billions of data to do better predictive analytics. This is the moment where the people say, yes, I understand the value. Now let's also talk about data privacy, but then let's go. Because it's good for the people, it's good for my business. And I guess
we have to make them clear AI is for people and not against the people. That's
a very good point.
Change.
So it's a good phrase. Let's go in the interest of people. Our time is almost over, and let's finish this round with a very short answer on a yes and no question. It has been said many times that AI is as important an innovation as electricity or the steam engine. Let me pinpoint it down to the question, Satya. Is AI as important as electricity? Yes or no? What do you think?
Yes, and I would relate it to maybe as important as the internet.
As important as the internet. Okay, Hildegard.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think it offers a lot of opportunities when it's well managed and controlled in the way of data security and trust and all the topics that we related to. Yeah.
So it's not just a hype, it's really important.
No, it won't go away again. I mean, this is not something that
just
goes
like
away.
the internet. Martin, what do you think?
Yes, point.
Yes.
Definitely yes, it will play a major role on customer experience and will be the new ally of the employees.
Okay.
No, it should be a tool. Electricity is the basis, and AI in a clever world should be a tool, but not on the same level.
Okay.
For me, it's a clear yes.
It's a clear yes.
Yes.
So we have one opposing view. It's very good. Thank you for this opposing view. And we have six agreeing on AI being just as important as electricity. Satya, this is your evening. You're receiving the renowned Axel Springer Award tonight. Well earned. We wish you the very best. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for discussing. And thank you, everybody watching us. Have a great evening. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph.
Thank you.